We are back with the second half draft show brought to you by Couch Potato General Manager. Joining me is Drew and Headley. I'm your host, Juice. Fellas, this is the last live stream of the 2022 calendar year. And for our audience, we have a two-round 2023 NFL mock draft for their consumption. It's going to be the head-to-head variety. So Drew and Headley will go back and forth. Headley will represent the AFC teams, Drew representing the NFC teams. Should be really intriguing considering this is our first two-round mock draft. So 64 picks deep. Drew's already suggested that he's going to throw a wrench into the situation. So we're going to get right into it, fellas. Let's do it. All right, Headley, you are on the clock with the Houston Texans selection.
Hey, man, we got to go chalk, man. This is the guy that we've been selecting number one in every mock draft. It's the Houston Texans. The Davis Mills experiment is over. And we got to go Bryce Young, the quarterback from Alabama, the QB1, the poise guy. The nervous system is always on point with Bryce Young.
Right.
He's just at the biggest situations. He makes the right plays, always looking downfield, hitting his receivers. The Texans, they need a lot of help offensively. They got their running back for the future, the Gator, Damian Pierce. I think he's the running back, but they need some receivers, a quarterback that can get him there. So we're going to get him Bryce Young to catapult that offense in Houston.
All right. That puts the Chicago Bears on the clock with the second pick in the first round, second overall pick. Drew, that puts you up. Which direction do you go in here with Justin Fields at the helm? Of course, he needs a lot of help, but you got a Jalen Carter on the board. It's hard, especially when you want to focus on just picking good players. They have issues on the defensive side of the ball as well. So which direction do you go in here?
Damn, bro, I wasn't even thinking about Jalen Carter.
What?
We're going Jalen Carter. We're going Jalen Carter. I was gonna go some extreme craziness, but we're gonna keep it copacetic, but go a little bit different and go Jalen Carter, the beast, the man, the legend, the guy that Todd McShay was hating on. You know how they do before draft season actually really starts. Character issues.
Shots fired, McShay.
As these young folks would say, stop the cap.
Yeah, I to that point, I thought that was, at least from my perspective, and it's a limited perspective, was irresponsible, right? This is not something that has, reared its ugly head previously. I'm not sure who's substantiating that. Of course, he's more plugged in than we are, but certainly it doesn't seem like that's been an issue at all to this point, right? And as we're getting closer and closer to draft season to drop that sounds like, somebody's in his ear trying to get Jalen Carter maybe to slide a little bit, you know what I mean, to the fourth or fifth hole, something like that. That's what that smacks of, at least from my perspective. But at any rate, Drew, you're up again here with the Seattle Seahawks. First of two first-round picks.
Oh, I forgot I got the NFC. My bad. These boys they would have in this position. I'd probably trade up and get Jalen Carter, to be honest with you, if I'm the Seahawks, because
Anderson there for you though.
No, I get it, but Jalen Carter is a need for them like no other team in the league right now, because them boys can't stop the run to save their life, man. But we're gonna do the right thing. We're gonna go ahead and get us this Will Anderson guy right here, right now. It's a consolation prize. It's a good consolation prize. Like, going from like $1 million to like,
950K.
Yeah, 900K. Call it 900K. You essentially still a millionaire. Take it and run.
All right. Once again, Drew, you're on the clock here representing the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah. For these guys, they really need a new coach, to be honest with you.
Coach, GM, yeah. I don't think anybody's going anywhere.
Yeah, no, they're not going nowhere. Everybody's locked in. Although, isn't your boy Kime? Is he like on a break or something?
I don't know, man. But him and Bidwell are tight, so I don't expect Kime to go anywhere.
Well, we know these guys don't need a quarterback, so we're definitely not going there. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm kind of deciding between two players, two positions. Oh man. I'm going to go ahead and slide down. I'm going to take the cornerback, Christian Gonzalez.
Christian Gonzalez.
Go ahead and do that, man.
All right, so why Christian Gonzalez being the first corner off the board? As you can see on the NFL mock draft database, they have Keely Ringo and Joey Porter over Gonzalez. Why Gonzalez cornerback one for you?
He can do it all. Has the size, the speed, the strength, play inside, outside, quick twitch, ability to close. And towards the end of the season, he started to produce in terms of getting to footballs, getting his hands on footballs and making plays. So, I mean, that's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Let's go.
All right, Headley, you're up.
Squeezy.
You're up, Headley. Drew had a trio of picks in a row. You're back on the clock after selecting Bryce Young with the first overall pick going to the Houston Texans. You're again representing a team in the AFC South here with the 5th overall pick.
Man, it just looks like the AFC is going to get stronger at quarterback because you got Joe Burrow, Herbert, Tua, Patrick Mahomes, drafted Bryce Young in Houston, and we're going to go get C.J. Stroud in Indianapolis, the quarterback, man. Because,
right.
Matt Ryan experiment, Nick Foles is starting, Sam Ellinger, Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz. It's been bad for the Colts at quarterback, and let's get a guy that, in the right system, could throw the ball anywhere on the football field. Pocket quarterback, he could get the ball to Pittman and Alex Pierce. But let's go with C.J. Stroud from Ohio State.
All right, I like it. Top 2 quarterbacks there off the board. As far as we're concerned, top 2 quarterbacks in the class. Drew, you're back up, and you're representing Headley's Falcons with the 6th overall pick.
Yeah, it's time to throw a wrench in these boys' plans. No, I'm gonna go with I think the best pure pass rusher in this draft. I'm gonna go with, and I know he's low on these guys' board. People probably gonna be asking questions, and he's lower than he should be in BJ Ojulari, LSU edge.
Yeah, we've mentioned it before. I know Headley's a fan of it. Ojulari is entirely too low as far as these rankings are concerned. Entirely too low. So certainly understand it. Doesn't come as a surprise to us. For those of you on the fence about BJ Ojulari, I think he's just getting better. I think he's scratching the surface. He's already one of the nation's best pass rushers. And there's so much that he does other than being a pass rusher, right? So Drew mentioned it. He thinks he's perhaps the best pure pass rusher, but he defends the run like his hair is on fire. You know what I mean? He chased down plays, backside, he's hustling. The play could be 30, 40 yards away from him, and he's still making his way to the football, causing turnovers. I really like Ojulari. I think he's going to be a better pro than he was a college prospect, and he's been a hell of a college prospect. All right. Once again, it looks like you have a couple more picks here back to back. Drew, you have the Detroit Lions on the clock. I believe this is originally the Rams pick.
Yeah, Rams going to be hurting, man. But in terms of the Lions, a couple players I'm thinking about going here. I know that Lions fans, some Lions fans, I see a lot of questions on Twitter in terms of, is Jared Goff still the guy? Should we roll with him? I said it last time. I say it this time. I'm going to continue to say it. You're not losing games because of Jared Goff, so he's not the issue. The issue is you got to improve that defense. So a couple of guys that we can go with here is Myles Murphy, who to me he's more of a power edge guy, but he does his job, does it well, holds the edge. You have Tyree Wilson, who is the freak of freaks in terms of size, speed, and athleticism. And then you have also Brian Brisset, what did I call him? The line of scrimmage discriminator.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah. So it kind of got their pick here in terms of who they want to grab. And I think I'm gonna go with Tyree Wilson because I like the way that Dan Campbell is actually developing players for that football team. And this is a guy who he's that high quality clay. You just got to be able to mold it and get it right so that we can get this thing going in terms of being consistent pass rusher and edge setter for the Detroit Lions.
Okay. All right. So you go back to the edge. Last year, of course, Aiden Hutchinson. This year, you're going back to the edge. And again, to bolster this defense overall, the upside. This is the upside guy. And I don't want to take anything away from his production this year. He's been productive. He's filled up the stat sheet. He's making plays. It's not just a matter of, he looks great in his uniform. He's actually making plays. But there is some, rawness around the edges. I believe in your preliminary rankings, respectively, Headley had him 4th among edge rushers, and Drew, you had him 5th. But as far as upside, he might have the most upside in the class. So Tyree Wilson to the Detroit Lions. Drew, one more pick here before we get back to the AFC. You have the Carolina Panthers. They certainly are in need of a quarterback, and there are a couple here on the board. Which direction are you going in?
Yeah, I know that a lot of people like Will Levis, and I know that that's one of Todd McShay's big guys. I know that's one of Mel Kiper's big guys. I know that's who they like, but no. before the season started, I've kind of looked at him, said, okay, I kind of know what he is, and I'm looking to see what he can be coming into this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, we talk about every week. We talk about Will Levis. I understand the offensive line wasn't the greatest. I understand the receivers weren't the greatest, but there were times when he could have played. He could have did things, and to me, improved himself and proved to me that he could be that quarterback, and he just wasn't that this year. Just wasn't it, right? And I don't know if that's because he put mayo in his coffee, but either way, I'm not touching him, right? I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go down here. If I'm going to take a chance on a guy who, didn't show me everything I wanted to see at the position, I'm going to take Anthony Richardson, man. Take the guy with the higher ceiling. He just needs to refine some things. He just needs to play more football, man. You know what I'm saying? And they have a really good defense behind them. Sky's the limit for him.
All right. Anthony Richardson is the pick. That puts us with the Las Vegas Raiders on the clock. Of course, a lot to be made of the Derek Carr benching. It appears that Derek Carr's time in Las Vegas has finally come to an end. And Headley, are you going to address the quarterback position, or are you planning on going in a different direction?
That's the question. That's $1 million question, man. Derek Carr was benched. He asked to be dismissed from the team. He's home right now. He's not with the team, and it's getting ugly over here in Las Vegas, man. And you assume they're going to get a quarterback, but I'm gonna go different. I'm gonna go in a different direction. I said they worked it out in the offseason. We talk about it. So I'm gonna get a guy that could protect Derek Carr. I'm gonna go with Paris Johnson, the offensive tackle from Ohio State. We know who Derek Carr is right now. He's not going to really escape the pocket. He's really a statue back there, a quarterback, and he needs time to throw to all those weapons. So get the best offensive tackle in the class, in our opinion, in Paris Johnson, and let's protect them. Let's protect them so you can hit Devontae Adams, Renfro, Darren Waller, and all those guys.
All right, that sounds like a plan. Of course, they've had Colton Miller there on the left side. Johnson, seemed to really make his home on the left side as well, but I imagine he has the flexibility to play right tackle and really solidify the bookends because they've had an issue up front. Derek Carr has had his share of struggles that go beyond the pass protection, but certainly they can stand to improve the offensive line. We have the Philadelphia Eagles rounding out the top 10. Drew.
Yeah, looking at the Eagles, I know that the sexy pick would be Bijan Robinson right here, but we're not gonna do that. Let's stop it, guys. Don't do that. Come on now. I'm thinking about cornerback because I know that didn't they is in a 1-year deal with can't think of his name right now. Hold on, I'm pulling it up right now. It is James Bradbury, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's a 1-year deal. You can hit me down in the comment section if I'm off.
I believe you're right about that. Yep.
So we could go corner here, but what really has helped this Eagles defense is the pass rush. And Roseman's done a good job in terms of free agency, signing guys to 1-year deals, throwing the void years on the back end of it so that they can actually equip themselves. Like, this is a Super Bowl squad as far as I'm concerned, man. They're equipped, ready to go. As long as Hurts is healthy, I mean, sky's the limit for this team, man. And so I think you got to continue to load up on that defensive line. So for me right here, is it Myles Murphy? Is it Brian Brisset? Is it Isaiah Folsky? Is it Jared Verse?
Who is it?
Who is it? And
a lot of options.
I think I'm going to go with Brian Brisset.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the line of scrimmage discriminator.
Okay.
That I know he had some issues going on about middle early part of the season with what happened in terms of his family, but it looks like he turned the corner on that later in the season. And he's the guy who we thought he was, which he's a guy who causes a lot of disruption. And he's also a guy I think that he can potentially rush the passer and get some sacks on the inside for sure.
Yeah, that's a handful. Brian Brzee and Jordan Davis on the inside. I'm not sure exactly the status of Javon Hargrave off the top of my head. His contract, I think he may have 1 additional year after this one. He's having a good season. Of course, Fletcher Cox, longer in the tooth. Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem for interior offensive linemen dealing with Jordan Davis and Brian Brzee. Absolutely. Rich get richer in Philadelphia. Headley, you're back on the clock with the Houston Texans. As we mentioned, you selected Bryce Young, QB1. I don't think there's any debate. I don't think that's going to change over the course of the offseason. They have their quarterback, a franchise quarterback. Now, what do you do in this situation? Do you address a struggling defense, particularly in the front seven, or do you outfit this roster with weapons?
I'm going with the weapons. I'm looking at the wide receiver position. Brandon Cooks, I'm not sure what's going on with him. He's in and out of the lineup. He's not happy over there. You got Nico Collins, so you need a wide receiver. You got Quentin Johnson on the board, Smith Najiba, Jalen Hyde, Josh Downs. Kayshawn Booty has re-entered the draft class.
He
He's
has.
in the draft class now. Rasheed Rice, one of our favorites, but I'm going to go with my wide receiver one, man. I'm not moving off of Jordan Addison, the release, the route running, the yards after catch. I didn't think him and Bryce Young, they look like they fit with each other. They're going to, Bryce Young's going to look down the field. Addison's going to get open. He's going to separate. And I think a lot of fireworks in Houston with the Bryce Young and Jordan Addison connection.
All right, there you have it. New quarterback to receiver tandem there in Houston. We have the Seattle Seahawks.
Miles Murphy.
Clock.
Miles Murphy.
Just like that?
Yep.
Just like that?
Thank you. Appreciate it. We was praying. He wasn't going to do it. He didn't do it, so we take Miles Murphy.
All right.
Edge setter, good hands, violent. Let's get it. We got to stop the run, man. And he can rush the passer too, but I think he's more of a power player. But yeah, that's the guy. Let's get it.
Okay, so a double up there. I know there may be a thought to perhaps address the interior of the defensive line, but no Brian Brzee. So you go with Miles Murphy. Of course, they selected Boye Mafe in the second round last year. I think Darrell Taylor was a second round pick 2 years ago. So they certainly have options at the edge position. Uchenna Nwosu came in. They you might be able to do some Legos there, but Miles Murphy, he has some flexibility. I think on certain instances, maybe to even slide inside in passing situations. But as far as giving your pass rush more teeth, you've certainly done that in Seattle. Let's move on to the Tennessee Titans. Headley, what direction do you go in here? I'll be honest with you. I'll be very honest with you, and people will say that it's too soon. Don't do it. Reconsider. Like Outcast, you feel me? The quarterback position, man, it's an eyesore. We talked about it last year. Malik Willis isn't ready. Now, can he develop? Absolutely. Assuming he gets the requisite coaching, they outfit this roster appropriately. He certainly has the talent, but I am not terribly impressed by his play. And certainly I had questions going into, and I think that's part of the reason why he fell into the third round, towards the end of the third round. So quarterback is a question mark here in Tennessee. Are you willing to move forward with Malik Willis here and go in a different direction, or are you willing to perhaps shake it up at quarterback once again?
Yeah, that is the question. Tannehill's out for the year. Malik Willis doesn't look like he's ready yet. I know they started Josh Dobbs last week. He played decent, but they definitely need a quarterback. But that's the question. Then what quarterback? Are we going back to Will Levis, where, okay, we need to develop him like a Malik Willis? We already have Malik Willis in tow that we want to develop.
Right.
So I think we got to go defense. I think we got to go. Let's start defense some more. We got Derrick Henry. We're going to run the football. Let's play some defense. And let's go get Jared Verse. Let's go get the pass rusher to go alongside, who they have right now. Bud Dupree.
I don't think Bud Dupree is much longer for it. I think Harold Landry is the guy that
Harold Landry, he got hurt for the year.
Exactly.
So let's get Harold Landry with Jared Verse, and let's get after the quarterback, man. Let's play some defense, and we're going to run the football. Jeffrey Simmons on the interior. So let's just go best player, defensive player available, and that's Jared Verse.
Okay, and to help out that young secondary too. Those corners, they're a talented group, but there's some breakdowns at times. And Tennessee still boasts a quality defense, just not a dominant group. They're dominant at times, but then there are games where you kind of scratch your head. So hopefully with the addition of Jared Verse, that helps that back end, that young back end, which I anticipate will continue to get better and better. Headley, you're back on the clock here with the New England Patriots.
Man, they need help offensively. It's been a while, man. N'Keal Harry, Devontae Parker, Nelson Aguilar. It's just, let's go get a guy. Let's go get a stud for Mac Jones, and he has his question marks as well. Is Mac Jones the future? We got also Bailey Zapp, who is the quarterback, but let's go get a receiver, man. I'm gonna get the big body guy, TCU, Quentin Johnson. He's a target where you throw it in his vicinity, the ball control, the tracking the football. That's what I mean. Be able to track the football. You don't have to throw it perfect to him. He'll go get it. So let's go get Quentin Johnson, the wide receiver from TCU, to help that offense.
Yeah, they need more explosive plays, and he certainly has the ability to do so. As far as Mac Jones, yes, there may be a question mark there, but I think given his his draft capital and the fact that there has been a dearth of explosive weapons on that offense, as well as question marks in terms of play caller now with Matt Patricia at the controls. They really need to kind of rethink that whole process. I anticipate Belichick will attempt to rectify that. I'd be surprised if he sticks with Patricia, but stranger things have happened, so we shall see. You're up again, Headley. You actually have the next 2 picks coming up as well. So I believe that's 4 picks in a row here. You have the Jets followed by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Which direction do you go in with the Jets?
Hey, I'm gonna do it, man. I'm gonna do it because that's Zach Wilson. As Zach Wilson, it don't look like it's going to last much longer. I know they got Mike White and Joe Flacco, but they need a quarterback of the future because the defense is humming.
They got weapons.
They got some weapons.
They do got weapons.
So let's go Will Levis. This is the Will Levis pick right here. We're going to try to develop him. Hopefully he can handle the pressure. Hopefully he's a little more mature than Zach Wilson, and he can get the ball to all those weapons. A strong arm guy. I know a lot of people have him a lot higher than we have him. So, he might be a top 5 pick in a lot of people's boards, but here he's going to fall to number 15 to the Jets.
Before we get to the Pittsburgh Steelers, I want to talk about this pick a little bit. So, of course, we're coming off of, a couple of disappointing seasons here from Zach Wilson, right? For various reasons. And I think the primary issue is him not necessarily working on his craft to the level that's necessary, right? I think there's no question that he can spin it, but we just haven't seen any progression from him, right? And we've seen far less ballyhooed quarterbacks play more consistently at a higher level than him as well. So, the team isn't necessarily responding to him. Those types of things are very difficult to come back from. So the thought process here, and I don't necessarily have an issue with it, is to move on, right? Cut your losses. Okay.
Right.
The question then becomes, especially how this particular draft fell. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, all off the board, gone. All right. We're not as high on Will Levis as certain members of the media, right? We have our question marks. Of course, there's been some mitigating factors as far as supporting cast in Kentucky, play calling, but he himself has work to do as well. So we're kind of back in that situation. The question then becomes about the player, what's in them, right? What kind of work ethic they have. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately the requisite coaching that he gets at the next level. Given the choice, if you were in a situation where you either option A is a veteran quarterback, and we could have a few moving here in this off season, or Will Levis, which direction do you go in?
It depends on who the veteran quarterback is.
So let's say for argument's sake, we have Derek Carr, and Aaron Rodgers, and Tom Brady. I'll give you those 3.
Yeah, we're going veteran quarterback. We have Zach Wilson still in the roster. We still try to develop him, try to get him ready while we have a couple more years. Whether it's Carr, even the worst option in that bunch, Derek Carr. Let's bring him over. Let's see how he does for a year or 2, and then we can get Zach Wilson ready. So I'll go with the veteran because that team is ready. That team is ready to go with the defense that they've assembled, with the weapons they have. The running back situation with Breece Hall coming back healthy. I like what I've seen from Zonovan Knight recently. They need some help on the offensive line, but yeah, let's get the veteran quarterback.
Okay, Drew, are you in the same boat?
Yeah, I'll concur with that.
You don't want to defend your guy? You don't want to defend your guy?
Who's that? No, I mean,
that ain't your guy no more. Jaron Hall's your guy now.
Listen.
Now move on, man.
I can't defend if you're not willing to put in the work. I can't defend you. Can't do it. You can have all. They say it all the time. You have all the talent in the world, but if you're not willing to put in the work, and you were given the job when you walked through the door, and you already got the mentality of I've been given kind of everything, so this is just another thing that I can add to the list. But when it gets pulled from you and then you get called out and you can't be accountable and just take the blame as you should as a quarterback, that's a part of the job. You get up on that podium and people start pointing fingers. It's all on me. That's a part of the job. It's what coaches do. It's what quarterbacks do. And it's what leaders do for the team. But apparently he's not a leader. So
apparently not. Yeah, and it's tough. It's tough to play that position at the highest level and not have that innate leadership to some degree, whether it be the fact that you're vocal or with your play, and your dedication to your craft. So yeah, it's a tough spot for the New York Jets. Headley, Pittsburgh Steelers on the clock.
Yeah, I've been saying it for a while, man. A couple of years, we need an offensive lineman. It doesn't matter if it's tackle, guard, center. We just need somebody to get Najee Harris to 4 yards per carry and somebody to protect Kenny Pickett because the receivers are there. Deontay's there. Your boy Pickens, George Pickens look like a beast. Fear move the tight end. They got weapons all over. We just don't have no offensive line, and they can't ignore that position. So I'm gonna go with Peter Skoronsky, Northwestern. He can do pass protection. He can run block. Yeah, and he can help that football team and get Najee Harris to 4 yards of carry. I'm campaigning for it. Let's get Najee Harris to 4 yards of carry.
Yeah, I think in how I feel about the selection of Najee Harris in the first round. I thought that was the wrong move to begin with. Creed Humphrey was the guy, in my opinion. But if you're going to invest and take advantage of an option year for a running back, right? You have a little bit more time before you have to consider giving them the big money, although I don't anticipate they'll go in that direction, particularly in Pittsburgh. They generally aren't paying out those long-term contracts like that. You got to get the offensive line right. They've let that position group deteriorate over the last few years, and they've been stubborn. They've been very stubborn in terms of, really committing resources to rebuilding that offensive line. Now they've been playing better here towards the end of the season, but certainly an area that they certainly can stand to improve that position group. Jake mentioned it. You saw it on the screen. He's just in time for the Packers pick. Drew, what should Jake be looking forward to?
Bro, I'm looking at my I'm going receiver, man. But I'm looking at these receivers, man. And you got Josh Downs, you got Jalen Hyatt, you got my number one receiver, and Rashee Rice, and you got JSN, man. And I really like the fit for JSN here. I really, really, really like the fit for JSN.
So you got Watson and Dobbs flanking JSN.
Yes,
is your thought process here. Okay.
Like it's almost like a pick your poison in that scenario. And this is assuming we're getting the JSN that we think we can get, especially with him playing in the slot. Again, I still question, can he play outside? I assume he can, but we just didn't see it this season due to injury. It's unfortunate. But man,
do it.
But listen, to me, you got the best slot guy sitting right here named Josh Downs for North Carolina. Bruh, it's the best slot player in the country. Hands down. Just trying to tell you. I really don't want to pass up Rashee Rice, man. That's my number one receiver. I don't. You can play a little mismatch, you know what I'm saying, with them, but I don't know if
Rashee Rice. I mean, it's obviously a spread in SMU, but Rashee Rice played out of the slot quite a bit as well.
Yeah, he can play the slot too.
He did.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I look at Josh Downs and I just be like, oh man. Let's go Rashee Rice. Let's not do it. Let's do it.
Sticking to his guns. Rashee Rice, receiver one for Drew.
Yeah.
All right. Hopefully that appeases Jake. Hopefully, but I'm sure Jake will let us know. Back on the clock here, Drew. You got the Detroit Lions, of course, with the 7th overall pick, the pick they acquired from the Rams in the Matthew Stafford trade. You selected Tyree Wilson. You went upside, back-to-back years in the top 7 picks with an edge player here. What do you do at 18?
Ooh, nah, I'm not gonna do that. We'll wait till the second round. I'm gonna go with my next best corner. I'm gonna go with Joey Porter. Let's cornerback.
Lock it up.
Yeah,
we're getting that defense right.
Lock it up.
Yeah, with Okudah turning the page, I know they got a couple other corners that they like in Detroit, but they can stand to improve. Okudah and Porter on the boundary. Yeah, that's formidable. That's formidable. They can match up with pretty much any body type there on the edges there of the field. Vertically, short to intermediate. You've talked about Porter. He challenges everything, and like I said, the light bulb has gone off for Okudah, so that gives you a really impressive tandem there at corner. Headley, you got the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have really showed life, really seem to be humming under Doug Peterson. Trevor Lawrence coming into his own now that he has some legitimate coaching. What do you do to bolster this team?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're going to be picking here because they play a game against Tennessee next week to make the playoffs. They're hot right now. Trevor Lawrence is humming. Doug Peterson has done a wonderful job over there. ETN's getting involved. I love what Zay Jones is doing. Also Christian Kirk. They got Calvin Ridley, who they traded for, should be back next year. So I like what they're doing, even defensively. I like what they're doing defensively. So I'm gonna get some offensive line help to help Trevor Lawrence out. I'm gonna go get a big left tackle from Oklahoma, Anton Harrison, to protect him, because I think the offense is ready. You know, the offense is ready to go, man, and we just need some more protection for Trevor Lawrence.
So the NFL mock draft database, they had Harrison as the 32nd overall prospect. I imagine you have him a little bit higher than that. Is that right?
Yeah, okay. A little bit higher. Yeah. I think I got him a little bit higher than Broderick Jones, which they have at 21st. They're very similar. They're physical. They can move. They can do everything. I just like Harrison's technique a little better than Broderick Jones, so that's why I selected Harrison there.
So, Drew, before we move on, Jake commented on your selection of Rashee Rice, and would you like to at least offer a little bit more context to your pick?
Well, first off, I want to say he does fit the mold of what they want as the Packer receiver. So I get a little green check for that one. But man, the thing that hurts me about JSN is I just ain't seen it this season. Not saying he can't do it. I just ain't seen it. I want him to check one more box for me. Can you play outside? Because a lot of his stuff was schemed up, got him running in motion. When he's on the outside, I just want to know if you're saying that he is going to play just slot. In that scenario, I'm going to go get me my Rashee Rice. But he just hasn't answered that question for me. I assume he can do it. But again, there's still a part of me that's like, well, I don't know. So I'm gonna stick with the more physical beast and Rashee Rice. That I know he can, he can catch the football, go up and get it. Like I just know there's more there for me right now for Rashee Rice. It wouldn't surprise me.
More comfortable with the selection.
It wouldn't surprise me if JSN blows it up. Whoever he goes to, maybe blows it up in the combine as well. Wouldn't surprise me. It's just, he just didn't check that last box for me. So I'm gonna hold it against him. I'm sorry. Sometimes you lose your job to injury. You know what I mean? It happens.
It happens. You got the Bucks on the clock here, Drew. Your Bucks.
Yeah, you're gonna have to scroll all the way down. I'm looking for him right now. You already know where I'm going, right?
You going quarterback?
You going quarterback, right? Jaron Hall. Go ahead, lock it in. Masterful out here, man. Masterful. My number 2 quarterback.
Yeah. Yes. So for those of you who are before you log off on this mock draft, before you log off, understand that Drew has been in the camp of Jaron Hall all season. He's pounded the table for his guy. He's a very big believer in going to go get your guy. Jaron Hall might have been available in the second round. In fact, I'm sure he will be available in the second round.
Messing with Headley probably was.
You know what I mean? So from that perspective, I can understand you guys giving Drew some flack, but Drew, you're a big proponent of Jaron Hall, and he is impressive. He is impressive, and I am intrigued to see him play with more talent around him in a more aggressive scheme, because he can really distribute the ball like a point guard.
Yep. Yeah, I think that BYU offense was holding him back. I think, and again, I don't know if he was injured or what the deal was, because I saw some reports. Because I'm watching the game like, damn, can we allow him to just play the game? And they would just kind of run the football and do all this dinking, dunking, all this foolery, and I know part of it was too. I just think the guys weren't getting separation and different things like that. But man, I think they were holding him back, and I think this dude's going to surprise a lot of people. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. And I know people are jumping on the Will Levis and the Anthony Richardson bandwagon. I promise you, there's always that 1 or 2 guys that ends up just kind of hopping over everybody else, and he's going to come out of nowhere. And I've been saying this since the very beginning. This guy is a guy. I'm telling you.
He's a capital GUI. Capital, not
yes.
He's not just he's not a jag.
Let
me put it that way. Not a jag. All right. You got the Commanders on the clock here, Drew.
Oh man, I was so happy about
we don't know what to do now.
I don't even know about these guys, bro. You know what I'm saying? Don't even know. No, if I'm not mistaken, these boys need a cornerback. We got Keely Ringo, who's one of Headley's guys, kind of falling off though. He don't want to get off the block, don't want to make the tackle.
I know who you're about to draft. If you're going corner, I know who you're going to draft.
Yeah, I mean, I got my guy Cam Smith, who was my number 1 cornerback coming into the season.
I know who you're going to draft if you go corner.
But then we also have Clark Phillips III, and we also have Devin Witherspoon, who's going to be at the Senior Bowl for y'all. You got Phillips with the production. You got Witherspoon with the fire coming off of the edge. Guy who can click and close. There's a question about his size. I saw some people were questioning Clark's size too, but he's got the production. And then you got Cam Smith, who again was my number one corner coming into the season. But I'm gonna go ahead and do the right thing. We're gonna go ahead and go with Senior Bowl right here. Thank you, Jim Nagy. Devin Witherspoon, Illinois cornerback.
All right, Spoon to Washington. I'm gonna stay in the NFC East, Drew, with the New York Giants.
Yeah, these boys hurt because Jaren Hall's off the board. You know what I'm saying? They don't know if they I think Aaron Jones actually having a decent season, man. He's got the quarterback whisperer over there doing things for him and getting things done.
What you think about that, Headley? What you think about Daniel Jones' performance this year?
He's doing a job. He's getting them victories. He's not as turnover prone as he used to be in New York, but he's not the guy, man. He's not the guy of the future. So they need a quarterback. They could be all right. They could be 8-8 every year if they want to keep Daniel Jones. But if they want to make
come on, bro,
that next step, they want to.
They was competing, level, bro. They a game. They're essentially a game, and I think if they win, they in. If I'm not mistaken, I could be off, but come on.
He's not gonna put him over the top, man.
All right, man. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and do the right thing here. I'm not going quarterback here. I'm going to go receiver because they need more weapons. That's part of the issue with the Giants, I believe, and with them wanting to be able to throw the football like they do with Brian Daboll. They want to be able to throw the football. So I'll say Brian Daboll. Yeah. So I got my pick of JSN. I got let me see here. We got Josh Downs and we got Jalen Hyatt. Oof.
Yeah, like based on the receivers you see on the board, you like them in that order, correct?
No, I'm just calling them out as I see them. I got
Okay.
Cedric Tillman. I think I like Cedric Tillman over everybody, but maybe Josh Downs. But I know people are gonna kill me about Josh Downs if I go with Josh Downs.
Not the KILL. Not the KILL.
The unalive. They're gonna unalive me.
Yeah,
they're gonna unalive me.
Decisions.
Yeah, it's decisions, man. All right, man. I'm gonna go with Cedric Tillman.
That's my guy.
Yeah, we're gonna go with Cedric
Tillman.
That's my guy. I know people are kind of giving Hyatt more love than I'm seeing than Tillman, but Tillman was the guy before we even knew about Hyatt. Man, this is the guy who had 1,200 yards last year, a bunch of catches last year, got hurt. You know what I'm saying? Still, when he came back in, he was still Tillman. He's still that guy. So, guy can go up and high point the ball. Guy can get down the field as well. And I think he's a guy who can separate well in terms of, just want to call it beating folks at the stem of the route, man. Let's just call it that.
Headley, you still got him receiver too?
Yeah, my guy.
See?
Wide receiver too.
All right. Again, very different rankings compared to what you see here on the NFL Mock Draft Database, based on the respective film study of both Headley and Drew. Headley, you're back on the clock. You got the Los Angeles Chargers. I assume you've convinced the powers that be to change the color of the bolt so that they can avoid some injuries for a change and actually be able to finish. Who are you going to add to this roster? It's a talented group, but it always seems to fall apart, man.
I want to add to the run defense for the Chargers. They got Asante, Derwin, Adley in the back. They can't really stop the run right now. The offense is ready to go. I really want to get my boy Brandon Dorless, but I'm not sure if he hasn't entered the draft class yet. I'm not sure if he's declared yet. So I'm just going to skip him for now, assuming that he might go back to school. And I'm going to go get the best linebacker in the class, the best run-stopping linebacker in the class. And I'm going to go get Drew Sanders from Arkansas. Yes, let's stop the run. Let's get to the running back and let's make some tackles, man. Because Kenneth Murray, he was a first-round pick previously. He's not really panned out. He's kind of like helter-skelter over there. So let's get Drew Sanders. He's going to get a lot of tackles, and one day he might lead the league in tackles.
Yeah, another player that Headley planted his flag on very early, and there's just a ton of production, and he does it all. I know you're bringing him in there to really bolster the run defense, but he does it all. He's a 3-down linebacker that's capable of doing it all, affecting the passer, getting back and playing pass coverage, as well as stopping the run. Headley, you're back on the clock with the Baltimore Ravens, followed by the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, we're going wide receiver for Baltimore. You got Rashad Bateman, the guy on the outside. You got Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. I like both those tight ends, but I don't think they got a guy. Let's get at a guy on the interior that could work with Mark Andrews, and let's get JSN Jackson Smith and Jiba. Lamar Jackson wheelhouse. He loves to hit those
The
seams.
Ravens.
And he gets open at the top of his routes.
Right.
Molly got it right.
Yeah, they Ravens, they probably trade down and get a baller because how
Right.
they do it over there. But if we're staying still at that pick, we're gonna go get Jackson Smith and Jiba.
All right, so JSN comes off the board. We have the Broncos up next.
Offensive line. This is a position group that, I know they drafted Garrett Bowles. I wasn't a fan of that pick, and I feel like they kind of, ignored the offensive line. Russell Wilson, he's the big money guy, and he doesn't look like Russell Wilson in Seattle. They need to protect him a lot better. You got Sutton and Judy on the outside, Dolchich the tight end. Let's go get an offensive lineman. Let's get a physical guy, Broderick Jones, the big left tackle from Georgia. Let's get nasty, man. Let's get nasty along that offensive line.
Okay, so Broderick Jones added to a group that's really been much maligned here, and obviously you can put a lot of that on the offensive line, but of course the quarterback shares some responsibility in that. You hope to be able to get Javonte Williams back to full strength and really get back to having some balance and create some explosive plays out of play action. I think that's ultimately what the Broncos need to become is a team that can run the football consistently and then take some shots to those talented receivers there on the perimeter. I believe they get Tim Patrick back as well as my guy Hamler, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure exactly where he's at in his contract, but they have weapons. Dolchich being in that offense now, they certainly have weapons, but they have to get the offensive line situated, and hopefully Russell Wilson returns to some semblance of what he's been in the past. Drew, you got the Dallas Cowboys on the clock here. Which direction do you go in? I think they may find a way to retain Tony Pollard, and I'm hearing rumblings that Ezekiel Elliott might be back on a restructured contract. But of course, there's a scenario where neither of those guys are back. So what do you do in Dallas?
Yeah, if Jerry Jones was running the show, he'd go out and get him some Bijan and said to hell with everybody else.
You think so?
But yeah. He liked the sexy. He fell in love with a guy. That's it. That's who it's gonna be. But
the guy is Elliott. That's who he fell in love with.
Yeah, and he fell on his face. Right? You know what I'm saying? Talking about a restructure, ridiculous contract, absurd, terrible, awful. But I'm gonna go cornerback, man. I need somebody opposite Diggs. And so we have Keely Ringo, you have Kansas.
Bland. That boy Bland, Deron Bland been balling. Just saying. I'm just saying.
Listen.
I'm just saying. He probably would be a better nickel, or rather he can play nickel as well, but you need more than two corners.
No,
regardless.
but listen though.
Yeah, I'm listening.
All three of these guys, Phillips, Smith, and Ringo, can play in the slot. We can do some mismatch. We can, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Come out there with your three receivers. Okay, we're gonna mix and match. We're gonna match guys up. So we don't necessarily have to play zone all day long. Not that the Cowboys do that, but you got to be able to tackle. And we know one guy out here is not doing that at the current moment. So we're gonna go ahead and eliminate him, right? And I have a feeling that Cam Smith is going to end up being a higher corner than Clark Phillips for me at the end of the day when it's all said and done. But I'm going to go with
the 21 tape is sexy, bro.
It is. It's good. It's really good.
21
it's
tape
really
is
good.
sexy.
Gaddy was my number one corner, but I'm not going to go with Cam Smith. I'm going to go with the production. I'm going to go with Clark Phillips III. We're talking about two corners who go out and hunt the football in Diggs and Phillips.
I like it.
Machines.
I like it.
Well, you made it a lot easier for me, Drew, because for the Cincinnati Bengals, I was deciding, is it going to be Ringo or Phillips? I thought you was going Cam Smith, but Cam Smith's on the board for me right here for the Cincinnati Bengals, man. And like I always say, you're playing against Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. If you want to make the Super Bowl, you got to learn how to protect the pass game, and Cam Smith can do it. He can play inside, outside. He's physical, come up to tackle. I just love his game, man. I love his all-around game. So Cam Smith for the Bengals.
All right.
Cam Smith is what Ringo is what people think Ringo should be, but I'm gonna leave it there. Go ahead.
I think with Ringo, schematically, it's gonna matter. It's gonna matter. You know what I mean? If you're not gonna be that guy that throws his body around in there and run support, then you probably need to be in a deep third. You know what I mean? And I think he can excel. in that particular scheme. So, but that does limit him somewhat. You mentioned the Bengals and the selection of Cam Smith, Headley to help stop those explosive offenses in the AFC. We have Kansas City on the clock.
Yeah, this is an explosive offense, and I'm gonna make it more explosive. I'm looking at the running back. I'm looking at the wide receiver. Man, you got Bijan Robinson over there, but I'm gonna not go with the temptation of Bijan right there. I'm gonna say, hey, we got CEH, Pacheco is so McKinnon, the pass catcher.
CEH.
So I'm gonna go to
CEH.
He out of there? You think he out of there?
Yo, he out of there?
That man third on the depth chart now, man.
Yo, fell off.
Yeah, I know. But I'm gonna go explosive offensive weapon. I'm gonna go Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee. I just feel like he's just a fit, man. I think like Andy Reid will want a player like this. You lost Tyreek Hill a year ago. Mecole Hardman, he's not that guy. You thought he was that guy. I think Jalen Hyatt.
This might be it for Mecole, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So yeah. To get that gas in the offense on the perimeter, I certainly understand the selection here. Drew, the Vikings, the upstart. I shouldn't call them upstart. They're playing good football. The Vikings are on the clock here.
Yeah, I'm going cornerback, man. And can Ringo fall any further, bro? Like, can he fall any further? Of course he can. We're going with Travius Hodges Thomason, TCU cornerback.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Smaller guy, but he's shown me a lot in terms of his tenacity, his ability to go up and get the football. He finds the football. Now he's not necessarily picking it off like we want him to, but he's getting his hands on the football. And you know what those leads to eventually. And I think it's a guy who can play inside and outside. But we're going to go with Thomason. I feel Ringo, people are going to be screaming Ringo here because he has the size and all of that. And he can play in the slot as well. But again, you know me, bro. It's always been since the beginning, bro. You got to be able to tackle, bro. You got to be able to willingly there has to be some willingness there, bro. Sure. Right now, he ain't checked that box.
I hear what you're saying. I think with Tomlinson, it's a matter of value. Right, that's the question mark, and maybe he's higher on your board, and you want to have that flexibility of the 5th-year option. But I think Tomlinson probably, because of maybe the size, is earmarked for day 2. As you can see, NFL Mock Draft Database had him substantially lower. I think they're too low on him, to your point, but the value question then becomes a factor at that point. But it looks like it'll be Tomlinson and Andrew Booth as your bookends in the future here in Minnesota. So I certainly a couple of players that I really like. I have the Buffalo Bills on the clock. Another explosive AFC offense. Headley.
Hey, this is the pick. This is where we go Bijan. This is the Bijan Robinson pick. The Bills has been looking for a running back. They traded for Nyheim Hines. Singletary is coming up on the end of his contract. You drafted James Cook last year. Let's get a guy that can do it all, run the football, catch the football. There's no doubt, man. Just Robinson and James Cook in the same backfield to go along with all those weapons for Josh Allen. Let's just add the risk get richer right here, and we're going Bijan Robinson to Buffalo. There you go. David Keith, no.
David already was on top of him. David was like, yo, give him Bijan. Stop playing. Stop playing out here.
That's almost that Chiefs thing where it's not fair, where they continue to get like just different players, different weapons, and that's what Bijan will be for the Buffalo Bills.
Maybe he meant Bijan to the Chiefs because that makes sense too. That makes sense too.
That's not fair too. It's not fair either team, bro. It's not fair.
It's possible. I would be a little surprised. I'd be a little surprised because I think the Chiefs have some work to do on the defensive side of the ball. I certainly understand the Jalen Hyatt pick. It's just the nature of Andy Reid over the years. CEH was a bit of a surprise, right? And I'm not comparing CEH to Bijan. I think Bijan is clearly a superior player. But it's one of those things, and David, he's confirming it for us. It is to the Bills. So Bijan to the Bills. Got that right. But I would consider it. But even receiver is a position that, like for instance, this past year, they had 2 first-round picks. And they decided against it. Because of the quarterback, because of the offensive scheme and that play caller, because Travis Kelce is the alpha in that passing game. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'd be surprised if they actually go offense, to be honest with you. But I certainly understand it. All right? So you have the Buffalo Bills going with Bijan Robinson, first running back off the board. We have Philadelphia Eagles, who could be in the market for a running back here. They didn't go Bijan earlier, with the Brian Brzee pick, but here we are with Philly here at the bottom of the first.
Yeah, man. I'm thinking about going edge here with Isaiah Foskey from Notre Dame. You got Nolan Smith who's left. You got Felix Anadike Azuma. Let me know if I said that right. Got Andre Carter II from Army. They gave my man his love. I think they had a bill pass, so they scrapped the bill, made an adjustment in the bill so that he could actually play, which is ridiculous. You got Derek Hall. Yeah, KJ. They got pass rushers, bro. We got pass rushers out here, man. But we're not doing that.
Okay.
We're going cornerback. I'm gonna go ahead and do the right thing. We're gonna go ahead and take Keely Ringo. Finally get him.
It's excellent value, I think.
Yeah, definitely
excellent value. Absolutely. I think this might be an area where you would consider perhaps a safety as well. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
This is true.
Who's expected to be back. He had been hurt for a while. He's expected to be back. But I believe, he's in the last year of his deal. Not sure whether or not they're going to extend him. So a guy like Brian Branch certainly would be a player that I would consider. But at this juncture, the Keely Ringo value is too much to pass up for Drew here. So Keely Ringo to the Philadelphia Eagles, and our last pick in the first round, effectively, since the Dolphins had to vacate their first round pick for tampering, is the Houston Texans back on the clock. And of course, as you can see here, Headley has selected Bryce Young and Jordan Addison thus far. All right. What do you're gearing up? You're loading up. Do you go back to the offensive side of the ball here, Headley?
No, I'm going defense. I'm gonna go defense.
Okay.
I'm gonna go edge rusher. Nolan Smith got hurt. He's that physical presence. I'm not sure how healthy he is, but I'm gonna go to a guy that I think is gonna blow up the Senior Bowl. He's gonna move up draft boards. It's the other guy in Clemson.
What you're gonna do right
KJ Henry.
Ooh. 13, if you didn't know, is his number.
So no Foskey, no Nolan Smith, Felix Anaduki Uzama, Derek Hall, Drew's guy. No KJ Henry. Yeah, KJ Henry's the guy that you believe is gonna fly up the board, right?
I agree with him.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
That's my guy in Houston.
All right. Okay. That comes a little bit as a surprise, but like you said, by the time we get to mid-February, that may not be a surprise at all, right? Considering what he's capable of doing and what he may do come Senior Bowl week. Headley, you're back on the clock here with the Pittsburgh Steelers. You were trying to retool that offensive line. In the first round, you took Peter Skoronski. What do you do here in the second?
I'm gonna get a playmaker on defense. You know how the Steelers do it, man. They love their defense. Right now they got, TJ Watt MVP every year. Cam Hayward's getting a little older, but he's still balling. I'm going to go to the linebacker core, and I'm going to go get Trenton Simpson right here. He's a guy that can fly sideline to sideline. I know my boy, Bush, that was my guy coming out.
Yeah, he's played better. He's played better this year, though.
He's improved, but Trenton Simpson's a guy that's versatile. He can rush from the edge, linebacker. If you want him in coverage, he can do it all, man. And Clemson, man, it's going to be a lot of defensive Clemson players drafted in the first 2 rounds, and let's go get Trenton Simpson.
All right, Drew, that gives you the Cardinals. You went Christian Gonzalez early, 4th overall pick, first corner off the board. What do you do here in the second?
I kind of want to go defense again, man, but I don't think I can do that here with what's on the board in terms of offensive line. And again, I know that the NFL mock draft database simulator is a little low on guys that we're higher on. And the guy I'm talking about is Blake Freeland, BYU's tackle, 6'7" monster, moving people out the way. Great feet. 6'7", he moved like he got moves, like he can dance, bro. Like them feet good.
Dancing
nice.
bear.
Dancing bear out there, man. So we're gonna go ahead and get us Blake Freeland. We're gonna protect the quarterback that is Kyler Murray. We got to protect him from himself.
Seattle went back-to-back here, or rather Drew had Seattle going back-to-back here with edges. There's a overwhelming amount of pass rushers. And you know what? When Seattle was, no-fly zone, I don't think enough credit was ever given to that rotation of pass rushers that they had. during that time frame, during the age of the Legion of Boom, and you seem to be building that here in this draft with Will Anderson and Miles Murphy. What do you do in the second round? Follow up.
Yeah, I want to kind of go interior here, but I don't necessarily think the guy that he would, you know what, he probably works here, man. Ika from Baylor. I think he's more of a 2-gap, 1.5 gap player, but I believe he can, he can do a little bit more than that. Do I want to do it? Drew, what do you want to do it? I'm gonna talk myself into it, man.
While Drew pontificates, a couple of players here that I thought we would have already called their names by now. Right there at the top, Michael Mayer and Brian Branch. Two guys that I really think are mid to late first round guys, still available here in the early parts of the second round. So whomever gets those two players is getting tremendous value.
You know what?
David Key said, "Do it, man." He said, "Do it, do it."
We're gonna go ahead
in his Arnold voice. Do it,
do it. Ika from Baylor. I know Headley likes to liken him to Vita Vea. I don't think he has quite the pass rush that Vita Vea has, but he definitely has the devastation, the line displacement,
discrimination, the
line discriminator. He has all of that in terms of just causing disruption up front and just causing havoc up front. He'll make things easier for the linebackers behind him, the safeties behind him, and he'll help the guys coming off the edge that we drafted. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and get us some Ika.
Okay. Loading up front is the Seattle Seahawks. Headley, you're back on the clock. You have the Indianapolis Colts. You got your quarterback, C.J. Stroud. He's gonna sling it all over the yard in a controlled environment in that dome. So I really like the pick. He certainly is my quarterback too, considering who we anticipate will be entering the NFL draft. What do you do here? You only have one additional pick here. Their typical second round pick with the 36th overall selection. What do you do?
Man, I'm looking at the offensive line right now. Like I said, you got some weapons out over there. Pittman, Paris. I like what Jelani Woods has been doing at the tight end position. And they want to run the football, man. And I'm looking at tackle because they need tackles more. But it's a guy that's way more valuable on the inside from the Gators, Osiris Torrance. So I'm going to go Osiris Torrance right here. We're going to get that left guard, center, right guard, bistro. John Taylor is going to be happy in Indianapolis. We're going to protect C.J. Stroud. So I'm going Osiris Torrance, and hopefully, they'll address the tackle position later on.
All right. Osiris Torrance to the Indianapolis Colts, shoring up a offensive line that really struggled this year. That had been a position group of strength over the last several seasons, and they really took a step back in 2022. So we're trying to turn that around here. All right, so that puts you back on the clock here, Drew, with the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are making a pick. It comes as a surprise to me.
This must be a lie, bro. You sure, bro? Are we sure it's them, bro?
Maybe there might be a little flaw in the database, but the Rams are on the clock.
All right, man. Well, for these guys,
listen, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, of course, this is an early second round pick. There's some talented guys on the board here for the Rams.
There is, and it's going to be interesting to see. Let's just say that this is the pick that they pick, or they're picking maybe a little bit higher in terms of where they're picking in terms of the second round. It'd be interesting to see what they do with the pick, because we ain't seen the Rams draft high and forever. You know what I mean? I don't know if the GM can do it. You know what I mean? I don't know if he can freeze up.
They go with Tutu Atwell.
Right, you know what I'm saying? Let's just go down, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and let's just pick, a player. You know what I mean? What does that look like? This is a team that needs some offensive line help. It's a team that needs help off of the edge as well. I think, though, in terms of the caliber player, the talent of player that's up at the top here, I think that I'm gonna go with, because Nolan Smith is coming off of injury. I'm a be patient with that one, and I'm gonna go ahead and give me Isaiah Foskey, who's also going to be at the Senior Bowl.
Isaiah Foskey lands in Los Angeles. That puts the Falcons on the clock. You went edge in the first round with the 6th overall pick, Drew. BJ Ojulari, a guy that we love here at Couch Potato General Manager. You follow that up with whom?
Falcons need Jesus Christ, bro.
Oh man.
I don't think he
Oh,
on the board.
Jesus.
I don't think he on the board.
Yeah, you
bro.
know, it's a first round pick out here, man. You know, let me see here. For the Falcons, got to do the right thing, right? Can't sabotage these boys. Because y'all know I'm a Bucks fan.
that NFC South hate.
Yeah, man. You know. We got BJ in the first round. All right, man. I guess I'm gonna go. I'm trying to think, should we do it? Nah, we won't do it because we don't give Buddy a shot, man. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go receiver. I'm gonna get him something sexy. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna scoop those guys. I'm gonna give him Josh Downs. I'm gonna do it, Josh Downs.
I like it. I was
thinking Zay Flowers, but I was like, nah, I got a little bit more sexy in Josh Downs. So I'm gonna go Josh Downs.
All right, I like it. You got big Draco out there, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, of course. It's been a down season for Pitts, but I don't think that's any fault of his. I think they need to reconsider, their approach somewhat along the offensive side of the ball. Perhaps a change at play caller would make a difference. Of course, the trigger man is a question mark, right? The quarterback position, but certainly I think you're putting yourself in a good position if you can add Josh Downs to that mix on the offensive side of the ball. So I like it quite a bit. Headley, you got the Raiders on the clock here. You took Paris Johnson, the top tackle, off the board with the 9th overall selection, trying to keep whomever's playing quarterback upright. What do you do here? I know they have a lot of issues on the defensive side of the ball. Is that the direction that you go in here?
Definitely, man. The Raiders cannot tackle. I know you got Max Crosby over there, but they missed a lot of tackles over there, man. I'm going to go with a sure tackler from Alabama, Brian Branch, the safety. Jonathan Abraham was coming up to delete people, to unalive people. and, he's no longer on the roster, man. So we're going to get one of those tacklers that's going to get the guys on the floor. He can defend, he can guard the slide, he can play safety. Brian Branch, man, I think his game is complete. He's an all-around safety. I like him for the Raiders.
All right. We have a new entry here, Drew. It's the New Orleans Saints.
It's another new entry.
Yes,
back new entries out here. I think
they are in a very interesting place as a franchise, right? There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of uncertainty. I mean, you could just go. You can kind of close your eyes and go best player available, and I think it would be beneficial to New Orleans. But what do you do? What do you do with your sole day 2 pick here, or rather? Your sole second round pick. We're not going 3 rounds deep. So no first round pick. You traded that away to the Eagles to move up to get Trevor Penning or Olave. I can't remember exactly which. However, that leaves you with just the 40th overall pick in the 2023 NFL draft among these first 2 rounds. So which direction do you go in?
I mean, this is a team that needs a quarterback. I know they got Andy Dalton. I know James Winston I think he got injured, then he ended up getting benched and he hasn't been back. So they do need a quarterback. I'd like an Hendon Hooker here, but can you when is he going to be able to play? What does that look like, right? Because the question for him is, he's come a long way, right? And it would have been nice to see him complete and finish the season, but unfortunately that's not the case. You could go receiver here. I obviously last year they went and got Chris Olave, Michael Thomas.
Milk carton.
All right, bro, you came off injury. Now you're back on injury. Like, what's really going on there? You know what I'm saying? I would like a Zay Flowers for them there. That would be a good fit. Or we could go D-line, in terms of Nolan Smith. I mean, or they could just say, you know what? Whoever's at the top of the board, just select them. Doesn't matter, right? And we'll see what we can do. The defense is always pretty good, for the most part. They did lose Gardner Johnson. So, I know they got a couple of guys that they added in terms of free agency, but Gardner Johnson is a different animal.
Yeah, I don't understand that trade. I don't understand that trade at all to this day. I'm not sure what happened. I'm sure Saints fans might have a little bit more insight, but to me, it just didn't make any sense.
It didn't make any sense, man. And there's a couple of safeties we could grab for those guys. You can grab a Chris Smith. I don't know if you grab him here, though, in the second round, although after the Senior Bowl, he might make himself some money. You got J.L. Skinner from Boise State, and you got Brandon Joseph. I guess we could talk about Jordan Battle, but Headley took the better of the 2 safeties, in my opinion, from Alabama. Damn, it's a lot. These boys can do, man.
It's a lot. They only got 1 pick.
You know what I mean?
You only got 1 pick.
And my thing is too is if you go with one of these injured players, what are you getting when they return, right?
Sure.
But I think I'm going to go with the most surest thing.
The most surest.
Yeah, which is Nolan Smith. I know exactly what he is. There's a couple players in this draft. You watch a couple of games, you don't need to watch anything else. They're giving you what they are. I will say this is I wish Georgia would have gave him more chances to rush the passer. But to me, when I watch the tape, it looks like he's just kind of designated to
He's just doing his
the
job.
run.
He's doing his job.
And that's it, right?
Yeah, he does it at a high level.
Correct. Yeah, and he does. Yeah. He does. So I'm going to go with Nolan Smith here.
Okay. So you want to bolster the trenches. I certainly understand working inside out, as the Saints have a multitude of areas that they need to address. The Browns, they're making their first pick in this draft with the 41st overall pick, Drew, or rather Headley. Headley's drafting for the AFC. Excuse me. Headley, which direction do you go in here with the Browns?
Hey, man, you got a brand new shiny toy quarterback in Deshaun Watson. Amari Cooper is over there. You got Joe Cool, the tight end. Nick Chubb's a beast at running back. You got a lot of running back. So I'm gonna go wide receiver. I'm gonna go help Deshaun Watson a little bit more, and I'm gonna go with the guy that didn't enter the draft class, came back in the draft class. Kayshon Boutte from LSU, the big play guy, get the ball in his hands. He could break tackles. I think Deshaun Watson would love him over there. So I'm gonna go with him at the wide receiver position.
Okay. All right. And then kind of your heir apparent to Amari Cooper, right? You got Peoples-Jones who can play on the boundary, certainly has taken a step this year. Hopefully Deshaun Watson returns to form and you add another weapon here on the perimeter with Kayshon Boutte. Drew, back to the NFC South, the Carolina Panthers. First round, you did it. You did it. You did it. You said it with your chest. You went and you got Anthony Richardson. I mean, when you talk about tools and traits and skill set, I mean, it's as impressive as any quarterback in this class, perhaps the most impressive. You're going with upside there. What do you do to help him, or do you address the defensive side of the ball?
I mean, these boys been putting draft picks in the defense forever and a day,
they
man.
Most certainly have.
Like, that's all they've been doing, man. I could go back there. I'm thinking about going back there. Should I do it? See, I wasn't going there, and then you mentioned it, and then now I got to really think about it. But do I really want to do it? I don't think I want to do it. I think I actually want to go to receiver, and I want to help Anthony Richardson. Although I like the receivers they have on this team, to be honest with you, and they've been showing out the past couple of weeks. You know, they finally, who was on the back of a milk carton? Terrace Marshall. Yeah, they was holding that guy back, man. For whatever reason, they unleashed
the previous coaching staff,
ridiculous,
or rather,
bro.
The previous head coach. Let me put it that way. Yeah.
It's ridiculous, man. And what'd be interesting is if we added Jamar Gibbs right here, man. Because this is the team I think, as far as I know, they've run the ball the most.
Yeah,
the past couple weeks.
Gibbs, and then you bring back a Deontay Foreman with that. That's a formidable backfield. You know, you don't like Michael Mayer here.
I mean, he's an option too. He does help you with your offensive line. You know what? Yeah, we gonna do that.
Young quarterback, get him a tight end. Young quarterback, get him a tight end.
It's offensive line and a wide receiver.
Headley hurt.
Yeah,
that was your guy, bro. He was going to Tennessee.
Yeah, he's going to Tennessee. He's going to Tennessee.
Oh, damn.
Oh,
damn.
We'll find somebody else in Tennessee.
All right, Michael Mayer to the Carolina Panthers. Tennessee, you went Jared Verse in the first round. Headley, you got Treylon Burks out here. Robert Woods still can make some plays, but they certainly can improve in terms of their passing options. So I certainly understand the idea of going with Michael Mayer. He, of course, can be an extension of your offensive line. So yes, obviously that one hurts a bit. But what do you pivot to?
I think offensive line. I think offensive line is a good pivot for them. You want to run the football, man. You want to be physical. You got two physical right tackles out there in Dawan Jones and Darnell Wright. Let me see the interior offensive line, because they can improve there also. They do run that zone scheme, right? So Michael Smith, the center, would be a good pick. Andrew Voorhees also.
Decisions.
Yeah, let's go Michael Smith. Let's go John Michael Smith, the guy with two first names. This guy is a guy that could get to the next level, because you want to get Derrick Henry to that second level.
Yeah.
And I think Michael Smith is a guy that could do that. Just his awareness, his movement ability to get to the second level, open up them holes. So let's go there, man. The Minnesota center.
I like how you just ignored the C and the Z in that man's name. I like it. Hey,
Schmitz.
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 The hell with your C and Z in your name, bro. No, very, very talented pivot there. And you guys are the ones who brought him to my attention. He wasn't really on my radar early in the college football season, and then I got to see him a bit. I spent a lot of time watching Minnesota, but I wasn't necessarily focused on the pivot. And you're absolutely right. His ability to get to the second level and make things happen. And you guys actually rank him favorably compared to Tyler Linderbaum from a season ago, right? And some people thought Tyler Linderbaum should have been in New York for the Heisman Trophy presentation a season ago.
Facts.
Yeah. So really good player and an excellent value here in the fourth, or rather the second round. New England, Headley. You went Quentin Johnson in the first round, got him a big play threat on the perimeter. What do you do to follow that up?
We're going back to offense side of the football. I'm gonna go to the offensive line this time.
Okay.
They brought back Trent Brown. Isaiah Wynn got hurt for the year. I'm gonna go to the tackle position. I'm gonna get the guy that we're gonna see what he does in the Senior Bowl, man. We're gonna see if he improved that technique. But I'm gonna go Jalen Duncan, the left tackle from Maryland. You got Isaiah Wynn, so whoever can play right tackle. I think Wynn can play right tackle. We can put Duncan on the left side, and let's run it, man. Let's run it. Let's get that offense better in New England.
Okay. Will Levis was your pick in the first round to the New York Jets. So the Zach Wilson era has officially come to an end. Of course, we had the discussion, would we opt for a veteran quarterback, assuming somebody, a relatively stable starter comes available via free agency, the Derek Carrs of the world. Aaron Rodgers might be on the move by chance. Tom Brady may be looking to play on the West Coast. Not sure he'd want to play in New York, but certainly he may not be back in Tampa Bay in 2023. So if those guys were available, a veteran of that caliber was available, you would go in that direction and keep Wilson in the reins. If not, we go Will Levis. The assumption is we're turning the page. What do you do in the second round? Do you help Will Levis? I think you got to, right? You have to.
Yeah.
The defense is jamming, unless there's a player that you really like on the defensive side of the ball that's still on the board.
Nah, I'm sticking to the offensive side of the football. The Jets, they want to run the football really. They got that zone scheme. Mike LaFleur and those guys, and I think the interior offensive interior offensive guard from USC, Andrew Voorhees. I think he fits the bill perfectly. I know you got Tomlinson and Vera Tucker; those are two guys, but Vera Tucker is very versatile. He can move all over that offensive line. So let me get Voorhees to play guard for the New York Jets.
Okay, I like it. Speaking of offensive line, with the Pittsburgh Steelers, you selected Peter Skoronski in the first round. Towards the top of the second round, Trenton Simpson, a guy who could find his way into the bottom of the first, really talented linebacker. We're at the 46th overall pick, your third selection for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I'm ready to kill the draft right now. Delete the draft right now.
Delete the draft. Yes, there you go. We're working on it.
Yeah, we're gonna really bolster the Steelers off the team pretty much, because you got Skoronski, which I think is a first round pick. Trenton Simpson's another first round pick. And I think I'm gonna get another first round pick with the 46th pick. We're gonna go to the cornerback position. And I think Clark Phillips III, he's still out there, right?
No, he is not.
Oh, Drew, you got me?
He
got
did.
You again, bro. Got you again and again. You can go get your boy Eli Ricks, though, from Alabama. Oh,
come on, Drew.
You can get one of my favorites, Emmanuel Forbes.
Forbes is a good player.
Pick six master.
What's the offensive line? What's the offensive line saying? We can double
go
back
to the O line. Yeah.
David Jones, interior. Let me see the interior. Jared Patterson. All right, let's go back to the offensive line and let's go get Dawan Jones, man, the big physical monster. Right tackle, the monster. We're trying to get Najee Harris 4 yards per carry.
Yo,
and Skoronski and Dawan Jones, I think
they're gonna get it done. They'll get it done.
All
right. Green Bay Packers back on the clock. Jake, Drew, do Jake proud, man.
Yeah, I'm trying, bro. I can't promise nothing. The first pick I think was a home run. But
Rashee Rice, there's a scouting report. I did a 5-play scouting report on the YouTube channel. If you check out our website, couchpotatogm.com, that's www.couchpotatogm.com, you'll get the full scouting report on Rashee Rice. I actually, my top receiver a year ago was Garrett Wilson. That was my top receiver a year ago, and Rashee Rice came in just under him in terms of my evaluation. He's a really good player, folks. I think set aside, don't scout the helmet. You look at his all-around skill set, the fact that he can play inside and out. I think the main question mark is not even the level of competition for me. It is truly the fact that he hasn't been asked to run a full route tree, and how he's going to be able to develop and consistently create separation against, more technically sound defensive backs at the NFL level. That's my main concern. But just the all-around skill set, the fact that he turns the 50-50 ball into 70-30, what he can do after the catch. I think he tracks the ball as good as anyone in the class, and he's just physical, man. He's a tone setter. So really like Rashee Rice. I understand that there were a couple other receivers on the board that perhaps some folks may like a little bit more. So I'm with you, Drew. I'm with you on Rashee Rice. I think you can't go wrong with him, but you can't go wrong with this 47th pick. Drew says, or rather Jake says, Chris Smith's the guy, man. Is it Chris Smith or is it J.L. Skinner, though?
That's the question.
That's the question I have.
Drew's frozen? Is he
I
frozen?
think Drew's frozen. I'm pretty sure he's frozen.
Where you at,
All right.
Drew?
So while we wait for Drew to sort out his technical difficulties, Heather, what direction do you go in?
Let's make Jake happy, man. Chris Smith. Let's go Christopher Smith. The safety right there. He come down. He's instinctive. He can hit. Physical, man. I think he's worked his way up from the start of the season until now. He's improved his draft stock a lot. So let's get Chris Smith, man. That's the guy.
Okay. All right, fair enough. We talked about a little bit about his former teammate Lewis Seen and how he compares to him, and they are different players. They are different players playing the same position. And you're right, Chris Smith has helped himself a lot. I think we got Drew back here. Drew, you're back in the saddle. Headley's in agreement with Jake as far as Chris Smith is concerned. Jake also says he wouldn't mind a Byron Young. I know a guy that you really like. Both these guys, as a matter of fact. Derek Hall is your guy.
Derek
Hall is your guy.
Hold on, real quick though. Which Byron Young is the question?
Oh, that's true. That's true. Tennessee or Bama?
Yeah.
Tennessee or Bama?
It's Bama. It's Bama.
You sure, bro?
I think
it's
that's
the run defense.
About.
It's the run defense.
Yeah, I like Byron Young. Yeah. I like Derek Hall. I like Chris Smith. I think he probably going to shoot himself up the draft board when it comes to the Senior Bowl. But right now he's not quite there. You know what? I Derek Hall, Byron Young. That's a tough one, man. Because both of them can be versatile in terms of how you can use them. I think Derek Hall has a little bit more juice in terms of versatility, but I think Byron Young, that devastation in the middle. Let's go Byron Young. That devastation. Let's go Byron Young, man.
Let's do it. Yeah. Let's do it. Where is my guy Byron Young?
They got him down there in the depths.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
Disrespect. That's disrespect.
This is ridiculous. Mind you, I have a lot of respect for the NFL mock draft database for their interface. I enjoy it, but this ranking is questionable, certainly. So Byron Young added to that defensive front in Green Bay. We got the Detroit Lions bolstering their defense. You've gone Tyree Wilson, Joey Porter to this point. Drew, our guy David Keith, he's indicating let's keep going defense, man. Let's do it.
Let's keep going defense. Okay, man. I respected that. I mean, listen, we went Tyree with Joey Porter. Take a peek at take a peek at my linebackers. Take a peek at my linebackers. So we have Noah Sewell, who I think is
on the other side of the ball.
Best in coverage. Has some instincts, and they have Henry To'oTo'o, who he sees it, he go gets it. Best game was Ole Miss this year. Best game last year for him was Ole Miss again. He just kind of, it's just kind of his thing. He just knows what they're trying to do over there. Oh man, I'm gonna go with the most well-rounded player. We're gonna put the Sewell brothers together. Go get Noah Sewell, bro.
I like it. I like what you've done in Detroit. I must say, you have made it a point to. I don't know if reconstruct is the right word, but I'm gonna leave it at bolster the defensive front, the down line for the Seattle Seahawks. With Will Anderson, Miles Murphy, and Siaka Ika, with your final pick in the first 2 rounds here. What do you do in Seattle?
Let me take a peek here because I'm thinking of a guy, but I want to make sure we're not doubling up on guys. I don't want to do that, wasting picks and whatnot. That's
Dang,
not
Seattle got Anderson, Murphy, Iko. Woof.
Whew.
That defensive line is good.
it is.
I'm telling you, man. Like I said before, back when the Legion of Boom was at their best, I don't think their front seven got enough credit. Their down line of that rotation, there weren't a whole bunch
I
of,
didn't.
there weren't stars in their down line, but they just had waves and waves of pass rushers. And the year that they lost to New England, they didn't have the same depth. And New England understood that, and they just started throwing the ball. They got worn down, and New England was able to climb back into that game, man. So, yeah, it's a difference when you got, you're anywhere from 6 to 8 deep along the defensive line in terms of guys who can affect the passer, man.
Go to cornerback real quick. I just want to see who's available. I think my guy's still there, Emmanuel Forbes. He fit perfect in that scheme. But was thinking linebacker. I don't think I'm going to go linebacker.
This is the guy that they would draft right here. Julius
Think so?
Brents. Yeah. They'll wait on Julius Brents.
Yeah,
You already know how they do.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Hit all for me real quick. I just want to see what we got. Oh, here we go. All right. Well. Ooh, Derek Hall still there.
Nah, bro. You can't do it. You can't.
I can't do it.
I'm talking about the depth. I appreciate the effort for the depth, but you can't do Derek Hall.
I can't. All right, we'll go Zay Flowers.
All right.
Wide receiver.
Yep. Tyler Lockett had considered retiring this year. He's still playing at a high level, don't get me wrong, but I think they can certainly stand to improve the receiving group. So I like the pick of Zay Flowers there. Good value as well. The Bucks, Drew. Bucks back on the clock. You did it. You did it. For those of you just joining us, Drew didn't take any chances, even though I don't think there was any chance that someone was going to take Jaron Hall.
Probably could have got him right here, right?
Yes, I do believe you could have gotten him.
That's okay, because we got another guy that I'm going to go ahead and snatch up.
But Drew has his quarterback in tow, and that's quarterback 2 in Drew's mind. So what do you do here with the 50th overall pick?
Go D-line real quick. I just want to see. I think I already know who's there. I just want to make sure.
Ooh, Thule. Thule.
Thule. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Yeah. Hey, man. Is Logan Hall a miscast in Tampa Bay? Or is it just a development situation?
I think it's a development. So this is what I think. I think that I don't think that they're going to use him to his full capacity. I think you're going to see flashes, and then you're going to see plays where he's just going to get just engulfed because of what they're asking him to do. It's not the perfect fit for him, but for some reason they believe he can do it. So,
Yeah, and that's why I asked the question. I think schematically it's not ideal.
Right.
I've seen him get eat up a little too much this year. Right. That being said, he is a rookie, so we'll see in terms of his continued development. Headley, you're back on the clock. You have the Jacksonville Jaguars. You opted to protect Trevor Lawrence and bolster that rushing attack with Travis Etienne as a ball carrier. With the Anton Harrison pick, I really like Anton Harrison. He's a guy that's grown on me throughout this particular season. What do you do here with Jacksonville?
Yeah, like I said, I like what Jackson has done on the offensive side of the ball, the receivers. They got Lawrence Etienne. I added an offensive tackle, Anton Harrison. So I think about going on the defensive side of the football. I like what they have with the edges and the interior, the linebackers, the outside linebackers, the interior linebackers. I love it. So I kind of want somebody nasty up front or a corner, in the secondary. Decisions, man. Let's go with the upside. Let's go with the upside with Eli Ricks, Alabama corner, the transfer from LSU. He's a physical guy. He can play on the outside. You traded away CJ Henderson, the corner in the top 10 pick from you. So let's get some more depth right there, and let's add Eli Ricks.
Okay. I think at that point, we've seen really good film from Eli Ricks, and I know it was kind of a slow transition into Bama this year, considering when he transferred and everything. So I think the off-season testing is going to go a long way in terms of determining where his stock ultimately lies. But very talented player, absolutely. Washington on the clock, Drew.
I'm gonna go tight end, bro.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go with a Jake guy. I'm gonna pass up Dalton Kincaid. I'm gonna pass up Luke Musgrave, and I'm gonna go with Tucker Kraft.
Tucker Kraft,
who has ability after the catch, big time. Boy was a running back in high school. You can see it when the ball's in his hands.
All right. Miami, the Fins on the clock, Headley.
Yeah, man. I think this is going to be a pick where, the offense is already explosive with Tyreek and Waddle, Tua with the concussions. We'll see if he gets back. That's a touchy subject right there. But I'm gonna go running back, man. I'm gonna go with a guy from Bama, Jahmyr Gibbs. You got
Of course
Mostert.
he is.
But a
Perfect
weapon like
fit.
Jahmyr Gibbs
That
and that
offense.
offense,
Perfect fit.
yeah, that is nasty right there. So I'm gonna go with that guy, the Kamara Dalvin Cook clone. He's a mixture of both of those guys, and yeah, he could go to the house on any given play.
Yeah, I actually really like that. I mean, obviously in that offense, in that outside zone scheme, of course, we got the Mike Shanahan tree here as far as the coach is concerned. They typically aren't going to go out of their way to pay for running backs, but I think the value is just too great here, right? And the second round is absolutely more than reasonable for a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs. So really add some more teeth and explosiveness to an already incredibly explosive offense here in Miami. That was actually their first pick as well. We have the Giants on the clock. Drew, you may have thrown a little bit of a curveball for most, not necessarily the CPGM family, but for most, Cedric Tillman won't be going 22nd overall, won't be among the first receivers off the board. But you've bolstered the receiving group here in New York. What do you do for a follow up here for an encore?
I'm gonna throw another wrench.
Okay.
To be honest with you, I was thinking about going cornerback here or even linebacker because you still you got my man Emmanuel Forbes. You still have Garrett Williams who was injured. I think he tore his Achilles or knee or whatever it was, and then and Henry Toto, he's still on the board, right?
Yep.
Nobody touched him. All right, yeah, you still got him there. But I'm gonna go left. Yeah, I was talking greasy about my guy, bro.
Greasy.
Yeah. And I'm gonna jump on board with you. We're gonna go Hendon Hooker. Pair him up with Cedric Tillman.
All right.
I like it.
I like it too. A little curveball, a little 12-6 hook. You know what I mean? But I like it. I like it. You mix it up there. Daniel Jones, you got some competition.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Drew Sanders in the first round to the Chargers, Headley. For your encore with Los Angeles, which direction do you go in?
I'm looking at the improving that run defense even more. I got the linebacker. I'm looking on the interior defensive line position. This is a guy where I watched the tape last year. I wasn't overly impressed with him, but he kind of he produced a little bit this year. I think he's at the top of the list. And Jervon Dexter, the Gator. Yeah, I kind of like his grit. I like him in run defense. It's a little high at times, but I think he's a guy that could get better once he gets into the league. So I'm gonna go with him, defensive tackle from Florida.
All right.
I know that hurt your soul to say his name and all of that.
I didn't really want to, but yeah.
He also was used. I don't know that he was using the best of his ability this year because he was kind of the guy that was kind of just, hey, we need you to do more than you've ever done. So I don't know that they gave him the freedom to kind of play to his best ability, but I like him there and for the Chargers. I think it's a good fit, to be honest with you.
All right. So Headley, you went interior defensive line with the Chargers. With the first round pick, Drew, second overall, you took the interior defensive lineman, Jalen Carter, to the Chicago Bears. You got to get my guy Justin Fields some help, man. I'm looking
at. I'm thinking edge, but I'm like, I can't do that. Yeah, go ahead and see the receivers. No, we can wait on that. I see some guys that I like. So we either going Cody Mock. No, we're not going interior. We either going Cody Mock, we going Darnell Wright, we going Matthew Bergeron. I don't know who Zion Nelson is. We go Cooper Beebe.
Cooper Beebe.
Nah, we're gonna go nasty. We're gonna go with the guy who's gonna change the mentality of the offensive line. The guy who's gonna fight if somebody does hit his quarterback after the play, and Cody Mock.
All right, Cody Mock from North Dakota State. You're back on the clock here, Drew. Went Clark Phillips to pair up with Trayvon Diggs at corner in Dallas. What do you do here in the second round?
Yeah, a lot of Dallas fans was not happy with the receiving corps the past couple weeks, man. Guys dropping passes, turning into interceptions. We know Dak out there throwing interceptions.
Hey, let me say something real quick though.
Okay.
As you're working through
Mhm.
your analysis here, I just want to say, and I'm gonna take credit for it. I don't know if you guys remember. I believe it was a Monday night game. Dallas was on the road playing the Giants, and in the first half, and up to that point, right? Cooper Rush was playing quarterback. Up to that point, throughout the season, CeeDee Lamb had not been playing particularly well,
Mhm.
right? He was playing soft. You know what I'm saying? Any contested catches, he wasn't coming down with it. Wasn't necessarily creating separation. Wasn't making plays after the catch. He just seemed disinterested at times. And we have our internal chat, and I challenged him. Let me put it that way. I challenged
Yep.
him because CeeDee Lamb was my top receiver coming out in his draft class, right? I challenged him, and since the second half of that game, he's been a completely different player. He's been a completely different player. He's been dominant at times. So I love what CeeDee Lamb has done. But to your point, overall that receiving group has left a little bit to be desired. They do a pretty good job of developing receivers there. Noah Brown has contributed. Michael Gallup, doesn't quite look like he's returned to form per se. So receiver is an option here. They brought in T.Y. Hilton for this push, but like I said before, you could be facing a situation where your top two backs are no longer on your roster. Is that a position to consider here?
It is, but listen, there's a lot of backs, bro. That's the thing.
That's
There's a
true.
lot of backs.
It's a lot of backs. Let me just see. Am I passing up on anybody that I love?
Yeah, you got a lot of guys, bro.
You got
Charbonnet,
it's a
A-Chain,
lot of
Corum,
guys.
Bigsby.
Yeah,
A lot of good running backs.
I could wait one more round,
Easy.
bro.
Deuce Vaughn,
Yeah, it's a
Kendrick
lot.
Miller,
It's too many, bro.
Roshan.
It's too many for that position. You know
It is a
how
lot.
people feel about that position.
It is a lot. You're right.
Yeah. So I'm thinking. What was I thinking? You made me forget when you start talking about running backs,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Look at my
Gotta
safeties.
forget sometimes. Oh
Look
yeah,
at my safeties.
it's some guys out there.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
we
yeah.
gonna do the right thing. JL Skinner,
All right,
sign him up, put him on the squad with the star on his helmet. Let's get it.
let's
He's
get
gonna
it.
be at the Senior Bowl, by the way, too.
Yeah, quality safeties here. I think the last player that the mock draft database has with a first round grade, effectively based on their ranking, is Antonio Johnson. He's still available, but J.O. Skinner is very impressive safety. Very, I think his star has diminished a little bit because this Boise State hasn't been in the public eye that much. It hasn't received very much opportunity to kind of demonstrate what type of athletes they have this year. But he's a player. He's certainly a player. Headley, you got the Bengals on the clock. You went Cam Smith in the first round.
Yeah, man. If I didn't have Cam Smith, I'd probably go Antonio Johnson here. But I already shored up the secondary a little bit with Cam Smith. Looking on the offensive side of the football, Tyler Boyd is getting a little older. Hayden Hurst, he's not the future over there. I think you got Higgins, not Higgins, but yeah, Higgins and Chase on the outside, two big play receivers. Give me that guy in the middle of the field, Dalton Kincaid, the Utah tight end. I think he's a pass catching demon beast. He can help Joe Burrow get the ball out of his hands quickly. So yeah, I like Kincaid over there for Cincinnati.
Yeah, Jake was thinking perhaps Darnell Washington, considering that unique size and stature, but the idea here was tight end, and I, as far as polish is concerned, you got to roll with Kincaid, but Washington would have been a very interesting option there as well.
He's going to make his money in the combine. If he goes out there and blows up the combine, he's going to jump in front of some tight ends he probably shouldn't, just because he just doesn't have the production, obviously, right?
Sure.
But he's got that ridiculous size.
Yeah, the stuff
speed,
that you can't teach.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, well, we'll figure the rest of that stuff out later, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but the way I see it, to a degree, the way I see it is that in college we typically don't get a lot of production out of tight ends, regardless, right? And Kincaid has so much. The movement ability of Kincaid reminds me of Kelsey. I'm not suggesting that he's a first ballot Hall of Famer by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just saying the way he moves reminds me of Kelsey, right? And there is a ton of positive film from Kincaid out there. So I really like the pick. You have the Carolina Panthers on the board here, Drew. And speaking of tight ends, your last selection was Michael Mayer, falling to the 42nd pick I think that is remarkable value. You took a big swing in the first round with Anthony Richardson. What do you do here for the third and final pick in the first 2 rounds?
Oh no, man! I'm panicking. I might make the wrong pick. No, we don't make wrong picks around here, man. Check my linebackers real quick. Let's see. Oh yeah, go ahead, man.
Just do it.
Toa.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just do it. All right. Okay.
Best
Toa.
What's the discussion?
Oh yeah, that defense looking good right there.
Yeah.
See them boys?
Yeah, that's impressive.
Squad up.
What the Lions have done thus far. The question is, do you
No,
go back
I'm
to the
talking about
defense
Carolina.
again? Oh, Carolina. Excuse me.
Oh, you didn't like the Lions, bro?
Excuse me.
No, I'm talking about Toa to Carolina. That defense, a really good defense, just improving some more. Yeah.
Yeah. So Headley gave you kudos for your Toa pick.
I'm just making sure.
Yeah, I didn't get it either. I thought because I love the Lions draft thus far.
Oh yeah, they starting on defense right now. Yeah.
Drew, go to edge.
They just traded their tight end. Don't forget, Hawkinson's no longer there.
No, I was thinking, but can I pass up Derek Hall here? It's my question.
But yeah, it's up to you.
I know how you feel about him.
So in the real world, I think they go Derek Hall. But in this world that we playing in right now, I'm gonna go ahead and go with Darnell Washington.
Okay. All right. Little pivot there.
Yeah,
I hear you.
Little pivot.
All right, big target there in the middle of the field for Jared Goff. We're riding with Jared Goff, man. Jalen Hyatt in the first round to Kansas City. Headley, you're back on the clock.
I'm gonna go on the defensive side of the football. I'm going to the edge position. You got Andre Carter, Derek Hall, Zach Harrison, but I'm gonna go with Felix Uzama. This the intensity he plays with. He comes off like a ball of fire. He doesn't quit. Him and Karlaftis, bookends. I'm not sure about Frank Clark. Bro. Yeah. He's just gonna keep going at the quarterback, and like you said earlier, the Chiefs need help on that defensive side of that football. So I like him there.
All right. So we have the edge from Kansas State landing in Kansas City. Buffalo's on the clock. Of course, they fool's goal, Bijan Robinson at the bottom of the first round. We imagine that solidifies any running back concerns that they might have. Continue to be an explosive offense. What do you do here? They had some injuries. We're anticipating Von Miller is back, although he's not getting younger. They got Epinesa. They got my boy Rousseau. What do you do on this Bills team? A lot of talent, but maybe a player or two to really bolster this team.
Yeah, they're in a position where best player available. They could go get the talent. Antonio Johnson staring me right in my face right here. The corner safety, he could kind of do it all. You got Chris Smith. He's more of like a back end safety. Yeah.
Well, the Poyer Hyde thing. Those guys aren't getting younger. I think Hyde's contract is expiring. He's coming off the injury, right? So that is a factor, if I'm not mistaken there. So something to consider.
Yeah. Chris Smith or Antonio Johnson. I'm gonna go Antonio Johnson. I'm gonna go with the physical guy. The guy that can play up close to the line of scrimmage, can help those linebackers because they got Trayvon Edmonds. He's kind of a guy that former first round pick. He kind of hasn't lived up to the billing. I love Matt Milano over there, but I think Antonio Johnson could kind of help their front seven a little bit better.
Bills Are Electric said Bills need a safety and interior O-line. We did get him to safety. He was looking for maybe some protection for Josh because you got to keep that guy upright. But he's pleased. Bills Are Electric's pleased with. I shouldn't assume that's a he. I apologize. Bills Are Electric. Good pick, Headley.
I would have went Brandon Joseph, but you take who you want. He out here hurting people's players so they don't play the rest of the season. I don't know.
Billy on the clock. Jordan.
Yeah, Derek Hall. Go ahead. Right, if these boys get Brian Brisset, Keely Ringo, and Derek Hall, bro.
Yeah, it's scary.
Hire Roseman GM of the year, bro. He probably already is.
No running back. No running back for this.
No running back. Drew said it's too deep. Drew said it's too deep.
Not with Derek Carr on the board.
We're done with 2 rounds. We are the last pick in the first round right here, and we've only selected 2 backs, right? Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs. And we got a bunch of backs that we like.
Bro.
Yeah,
you can imagine any of them backs with Philly, bro?
Bruh. Come on.
Any of those guys, bro. Maybe for the exception of scroll down real quick. Keep going. Maybe a Kenny McIntosh I don't like. And
your boy DP, he really likes Kenny McIntosh.
You like him, but does he like him for
solid.
Philly though?
McIntosh is solid.
I don't know that I like him for Philly though.
Oh, I hear what you're saying. The
you
fit.
There's a lot of backs that would fit well with Philly.
So your boy Kaylan Laybourne, bro. Yeah, it's a deep class, no question. Last pick here, Headley.
They could pair a running back with Pierce because
That's true.
all the good running backs. You get like an A-chain with the Pierce.
That juice.
Yeah, I'm looking at the second level of the defense, man. Let's look at the linebackers.
Okay. All right.
I know you drafted Christian Harris. See what you got: Campbell,
Jack Campbell,
Deion Henley, Ventrell
Deion
Miller.
Henley. He'll be in Mobile as well as Miller, if I'm not mistaken. Savasier is going to be there in Mobile as well.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think Dijon Johnson's a linebacker.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I think he's an edge. I think he might be a stand-up edge, but he's an edge.
Eichenberg. Did Eichenberg declare? I don't know if he did.
Let me see the edges. Brett Cox, Andre Carter. I already got him at edge. KJ Henry. They kind of need some offensive line help too, don't they? On the right side.
Not a bad spot for Darnell, right? I mean, it's about how you feel about Titus Howard.
Brevin Jordan out there. They got a receiver. They could use another receiver. Let's get another receiver for these boys, man.
So we're not sure about Brandon Cooks. We're not sure where that's going to work out. You got Nico Collins. We hope to get John Mechie back, right? Obviously, he was dealing with an illness. Hoping to get him back, and then of course you selected Jordan Addison with the 11th overall pick. So you want to stick with receiver or
no? I forgot about Mechie. I forgot about Mechie.
Okay.
Got Andre Carter. Yeah, this one. Let's go back to the linebacker class. I'm gonna get a guy with upside, man. We're gonna see him at the Senior Bowl. Deion Henley, the Washington State linebacker. He can fly all over the football. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the upside right there in Henley, and let's do that.
Okay. All right. We got some young linebackers there in Houston. Let's quickly go through these selections, and as I scroll through, let me know who you think had the best class. All right. So we got the Cardinals, Gonzalez and Freeland. Ojulari Downs.
I love that one. I love that one.
Them boys hate on Ojulari. Got a C+.
JSN, Baltimore only had 1 pick in the first 2 rounds, but certainly they get JSN. It's hard to argue with that. That's pretty damn good right there as well. In Buffalo,
Bijan Antonio Johnson, A+. Yeah, Mayer, Toto, Richardson.
Yeah, this could be a home run. There's some question marks, obviously, but the value that you get in Mayer, I think Toa is kind of lands where he's supposed to, but still quality pick here. This is an interesting class. I like what you got going there, Drew. Meat and potatoes here in Chicago.
The trenches.
Meat and potatoes. Cam Smith, Dalton Kincaid. Those could be the missing pieces to a championship run.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's how good those 2 individuals are, considering where the Bengals are at. Only 1 pick for the Browns, but you go with some upside here at receiver.
The secondary.
Yeah, bolstering the secondary here in Dallas. Is Broderick Jones enough to get Russell Wilson back to some respectability? Certainly a pick that's a need. I think the board and the need came together here with Broderick Jones. This is impressive.
Yeah, that's a big draft right there. Tyree, that's a big draft. Darnell Washington.
This is impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, Lions at the top of my list right now. That's a great draft.
Here you go, Jake. Rasheed Rice, Byron Young.
They hate on Byron. They don't know about him.
My draft database didn't love it, but we love it. We love it. Mm-hmm. And Jake approved, so that's what really matters.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see. 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 Let's see
See what you did here, Headley. You didn't play any games. You didn't get cute. Bryce Young at the top. Get receiver 1. KJ Henry, who you believe is going to fly up the draft board, and Diane Henley, who can really help himself at the Senior Bowl. So good mix here. Good mix here. His name is escaping me. The linebacker from Alabama. He's a rookie this year. I think you pair him up with Henley, and you're covering a lot of ground there at the second
Christian
level.
Harris. Yeah.
Christian Harris. Absolutely. Yep. Colts get their quarterback and help out a much maligned offensive line this year. I think those are a pair of solid picks. Very good picks. More than solid. Better than solid. Jags add some more talent to an already talented group. I think this young team is going to be they keep their quarterback upright. Yeah, they're coming. They're coming. Get the speed merchant and Jalen Hyatt followed up with another edge rusher. You're going to have some changes on that down line, so certainly makes sense here in Kansas City. The Raiders. All right, so you beef up the offensive line. That's OT1 for us.
Yeah.
And then Brian Branch, I think
that's a steal.
Yeah,
I think that's a steal at 39.
Absolutely. Drew Sanders and Irvin Dexter here to bolster that run defense. That's what it is, right, Headley? We're not looking for sexy here. We're looking to actually be competent against the run.
Yeah, physical.
The Rams actually had a pick, and they get really good value here with Isaiah Foskey with this 37th overall pick. I think we were all a little surprised about the fact that they actually had a pick.
Sure.
The Dolphins had to vacate their first-round pick, but I mean, listen. If I told you the Dolphins selected Jahmyr Gibbs, in the bottom of the first round, would you hate it?
No.
You know what I mean? And to get him 53rd overall in that particular scheme with those guys on the perimeter, that's good stuff there. Minnesota. This was a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah, it's a curveball.
I go back to the value aspect. I love the player. I think the player is very good. I think he's underappreciated. But the value in terms of what was on the board, of course, the Vikings didn't have a second round selection. So, sometimes you just go get your guy here. All right, we got the Pats with Quentin Johnson and Jalen Duncan. If they so both of these guys, to me, just from my perspective, and I'm not sure how you guys feel about this. I imagine you are in agreement with me in terms of Jalen Duncan, but Quentin Johnson, I think they're both high risk, high reward guys.
Yeah, I agree.
That's how I feel about those two players.
I agree.
Saints with their solitary pick. Nolan Smith. So, I think, as Drew put it, you know exactly what you're getting there.
Physical edge.
Jets ripped the Band-Aid off, went Will Levis. Of course, there's question marks around him, and you try to help your quarterback and that running game with Andrew Voorhees in the second round. All right, just a handful of more teams here. Giants, Cedric Tillman, Hendon Hooker. Okay, give Danny Dimes.
So, the Tennessee connection.
Yes, the Tennessee connection, the volunteer connection. All right, so we can give Danny Dimes some competition with Hooker. Hopefully Hooker gets back healthy soon. Embarrassment of riches for the Eagles. This one is comparable to what Detroit did. Yeah. This one is comparable. Skaronski, Simpson, they want to. You did some damage here.
Yeah, I like that for still the trenches.
I know you were looking for that corner. I know you're looking for that corner at 46, but I think you did some damage here.
I like that one. It's my top 3 right now.
It's just not sexy. That's all. It's just not sexy.
Yeah. But it's what they need, though.
No picks for the 49ers. Will Anderson, Miles Murphy, Siaka Ika, and Zay Flowers. I mean, I love all the players.
A lot of beef.
I love all the players.
Yeah.
Seattle making the most of all of their draft picks.
Drew's guys. That's Drew's guys.
Those are Drew's guys. Make no mistake about it. Those are Drew's guys.
They ain't like it. C+.
Drew would be over the moon if the Bucks came away with Jaron Hall and Tuipulotu. Excuse me. I think if you flip those, I like it a little bit more though.
Yeah.
Jared versus John Michael Smith. So you went to the You went to the trenches here, Headley, and I think that's a good place to start. You know, if you don't necessarily have that difference maker at quarterback available to you, I think you certainly build it from the inside out. And finally, the Washington Commanders. Drew went with Devin Witherspoon and Tucker Kraft, two excellent players. I think there's those are Jake guys, and I think respectively their draft stock will increase over the next coming months here. So, for my money, it's between the Eagles and the Lions, and I'm gonna give the nod to the Lions, man.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give the nod to the Lions.
Yeah, I like that one.
All right. That's going to do it. We lost Drew for a bit there.
He's back. He's back.
I was backstage, bro, chilling.
He was backstage, but your drafts for Philly and Detroit respectively were considered the top ones. Jake weighing in, big win for Philly, right? I certainly can get with the fact that Philly could be considered the top class in our 2-round head-to-head mock draft. Again, last live stream of the new year, guys. We thank you for rocking with us. We're gonna see you in 2023. Be safe. Happy New Year, and we're gonna see you again this time next Friday.